And this is the Coalition. Loud and proud and as always outraged porn-free. We're sitting here in Halitosis Hall, a.k.a. Rudy Cheeks invented that term. We love it. We embrace it. I'm sitting here with Rebecca Kislak. She is the state representative for District 4, La Providence. She's advocating for some pretty provocative, in a sense, legislation. Other people call it common sense. You know, there's a discomfort level here in America right now, across America, given, well, let's just say parents' newfound embrace of the education system, primarily because they're at home and they're face-to-face with it now. And two of those areas focus really on, if you will, parents' right to control their children's education, the subject matter, their newfound engagement with curriculum. On top of that, you've got age questions from parents as opposed to sex education. Add to that, really, the sea change that's taken place in American sexual politics with regard to folks' better understanding of LGBTQIA issues. There's a lot of concern, there's a lot of consternation. There's a little bit of chaos out there as well. So if you could talk to us about your legislation, what you think it actually accomplishes, and maybe you can address some of those parental concerns, and I'll call it the age appropriateness of sex ed.
Thank you. I think the legislation speaks for itself. It calls for inclusive, comprehensive sex education, which we know empowers our children to make healthy and age-appropriate decisions for themselves. As a member of the LGBTQ community, think it's really important for all of us to have access to comprehensive and complete information, and that's the update that we would be providing to our sex education statutes.
What age do you believe is it appropriate to introduce sex education? And I'm not just saying, I'm not even looking at it from a moral perspective, but really particularly in urban school systems and school systems around the nation that are facing new challenges. When should the schools dive into that issue from an age perspective?
Yeah, from an age perspective, this bill starts at 6th grade for age-appropriate sex education, and we heard testimony from healthcare providers and others about kids who are getting pregnant when they're that young. And they need to know what's happening with their bodies, and they need to be able to understand decisions they're making, or that they're being forced to engage in activities that they might not know can lead to pregnancy or other things. So this bill starts at 6th grade. We also know that best practices is a comprehensive, lifelong curriculum that we call a sex ed curriculum, but it's not just about the mechanics of sex. That comes when the kids are older. What we want and we need to do is to empower our kids to make decisions about their own bodies. And so a consent-based education starts on the playgrounds when they are young, and they can say, yes, I want to play this, or no, I don't want to play that. Stop hitting me with the ball. And learning the skills to negotiate and to speak up for themselves and their own ability to consent. And so I think that we teach different things at different ages, but kids of all genders, sexual orientations, of all races and cultures deserve age-appropriate information, deserve to have teachers supported to provide answers to their questions. The kids have questions, and we should be able to answer them.
We've seen the age appropriateness of sex education move from high school now down to the middle school. What's impacted that? What are the driving forces beyond that?
Well, I mean, I don't know that we've seen that. I know that when I was in school, they put the 6th grade girls in one room and the 6th grade boys in another room, and talked to us about our bodies and how they were changing. So I think that there are different things that are appropriate for kids to learn at different ages. So I'm not sure that this is actually changing what's been happening. It just provides a more inclusive framework.
Right. And how do you react to parents who feel like control of their children's education, not just sex education, but overall education, has been taken away from them? You heard testimony today from people who were parents and teachers.
Yeah.
If you could respond to that, please.
Yeah, so actually let me talk about this. I actually want to address this because I don't think this is actually that controversial.
Mm-hmm.
And I see a lot of overlap among the folks who are testifying against this. Also being opposed to other education, like about our history curriculum and other pieces of the curriculum. I think that our kids throughout all of our subjects deserve comprehensive and complete information about the world around them. And I don't think that's actually as controversial as it's being made out to be. We should have our experts in education determining the curriculum and developing it based on best standards, and that's what we're asking for in sex ed and what I hope we do throughout our curriculum, and know that we do.
One last question. In undercurrent today's testimony was the theme evoked by former Representative Costa, who talked about test scores and priorities in terms of curriculum, specifically focusing on low reading scores, low math scores, as an area of focus as opposed to what, and I'm using my words, what she sees as an externality. How would you address that?
Yeah, we need to support our teachers and our educators throughout all of the subjects. And I think that we could do better across the whole curriculum in making sure that our teachers are adequately supported and have the tools that they need to help our students. And our teachers are so stressed right now. And I know that our health teachers, we heard from former health teacher Susan Donovan supporting this bill, providing, and I have heard from our youth and youth-led organizations that their teachers seem to them to be uncomfortable with this content. So the more that we can do to support our teachers across the curriculum, the better.
Rebecca Kislak, representing Providence, Rhode Island, thank you so very much for your time. I know it's a hectic time of year, so we appreciate your accessibility. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
So, Coalition Radio Network here at Halitosis Hall. All credit to Rudy Cheeks. I'm sitting here with Representative Doreen Costa. She's retired from the legislature for now, but she's here to speak about a provocative bill that the House, Committee on Education is facing with regard, well, I'll let you explain it. What's going on here, and why is there so much chaos?
Well, the problem that we see here is teachers have enough on their plate right now to worry about, it's even embarrassing to say, sexual activities that the children would be doing or not doing or could be doing at 10, 11, 12 years old. We need to get back to the basics. Children don't know how to balance a checkbook. You go get a coffee, the coffee's $2.49, you give them a $10 bill. They have absolutely no idea how to make change. We need to go back to the basics. We are failing in everything, and then we have a bill like this that comes in front of the House floor, possibly for a vote, where the parents need to know what's going on. And unfortunately, most parents don't need to know what's going on because they're too busy working. All of a sudden, this bill just made a splash, and the social media was blowing up. It's like, oh, you parents have to get to the State House, you have to testify against this bill. Unfortunately, most parents are working and they can't get here at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. So this is quite an embarrassing moment. I think all the decorum is absolutely now gone in the House of Representatives after this bill, and listening to some of that testimony from sitting representatives and senators. I'm sorry, I'm not a prude, but this was extremely embarrassing, and leave our kids out of it.
Does it take a village to raise children, or does it take a family?
It takes your parents, it's your family. Educators should not be talking to children about this, especially this bill. I'm sorry, this is wrong. Like I said in testimony, my kids are in their 30s, but I have a grandchild that's in the system right now. He's in the school system. I want him to play with his Hot Wheels and his Matchboxes, and I want him to play with his friends and go to the playground, and I don't want him to be listening to any of this. This is, let kids be kids. This is not where our kids should be right now.
You got a situation here where teachers are testifying against this, who also in many cases happen to be parents.
Correct.
And yet the response from the legislatures is that we need to listen to the specialists and the teachers. Why is there such a disconnect between parents' rights and their involvement in education and education in Rhode Island, the establishment.
Well, here's the problem, Pat. The people sitting on the people that sponsored this bill and signed on to this bill think they know your children better than you do. So every person that is on that bill should be voted out, 100% voted out. It is absolutely ridiculous. They are here to legislate. They are not here to be anybody's parents, especially your children's parents, my children's parents. I am sorry. I mean, every representative on that bill should be called out immediately. I plan on doing an op-ed and sending it to every single newspaper in the state.
Representative Costa, thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Pat.
We'll talk again soon.
You bet.